Decoding the future of AI. Welcome to AI Perspective. Forget what you thought you knew about the AI landscape. Forget the slow, predictable march of progress. In the last few days, the ground beneath the giants has violently shifted. While the world was watching OpenAI, two companies, DeepSeek and Microsoft, just walked onto the battlefield, drew a line in the sand, and unleashed models so powerful, so audacious, they can only be described as a direct slap across the face of the reigning champion. This isn't just about bigger numbers or fancy press releases. This is a fundamental challenge to the way the AI race is being run. We're talking about a 671 billion parameter mathematical god, set free for the world to use. A dangerously efficient 7 billion parameter model that punches like a heavyweight. And a 14 billion parameter genius built with surgical precision. So, buckle up. We're going to break down exactly what just happened, what these insane new models can do, and why the era of OpenAI's unchallenged dominance might be over. Our first stop is Beijing, or more accurately, the servers of Hugging Face, where the company DeepSeek just detonated a bomb called Prover V2. And yes, detonated is the right word. If you remember their R1 Sputnik moment last year, you know DeepSeek doesn't do subtle. They break records, they spark debate, and they casually drop paradigm-shifting models into the wild like it's a Tuesday. Prover V2 weighs in at a jaw-dropping 671 billion parameters. Let's put that into perspective. That is monstrous. It's one of the largest, most complex models ever publicly detailed. Yet somehow, this digital behemoth was released under the permissive MIT license. That's like designing a warp drive and then posting the blueprints on Wikipedia for free. Getting your hands on it is a mission in itself. Quantized down to 8-bit floating point precision, the full weights still clock in at around 650 gigabytes. Downloading this isn't an afternoon experiment. It's a cancel your weekend and warn your internet provider kind of commitment. But once you have it, what it does is nothing short of revolutionary. Prover V2 is a specialist. It's a savant focused on one of the purest forms of intelligence, formal mathematical proof verification. Now, this isn't like asking a chatbot to solve 2 plus 2. This is feeding it international math Olympiad-level problems that stump the brightest human minds, and watching it not only find the answer, but translate the entire problem into a formal verification language called Lean, and then generate a step-by-step machine-verifiable proof. It's not just giving you the answer, it's writing the PhD dissertation that proves the answer is irrefutably correct. This is academic-grade, world-class grunt work, compressed into seconds. This isn't just a party trick for mathematicians. Think about the implications. You can use this to verify the logic in cryptographic protocols that secure trillions of dollars. You can use it to check for flaws in mission-critical software for aerospace or medicine. You can automate the grading of complex university-level math proofs. It's a tool for creating certainty in a world of digital chaos. And this is the first massive slap to OpenAI. While GPT-4 is a jack-of-all-trades behind a paywall, DeepSeek has open-sourced a world-class master of one, for free. The community is already buzzing. Some are thrilled, seeing a win for open science and transparency. Others are deeply concerned, asking the valid question. What happens when you hand the keys to a Ferrari to anyone with a powerful enough GPU? The debate is real, but make no mistake, this was a calculated move, and the community is already working to tame the beast. Through techniques like distillation and more aggressive quantization, we will soon see smaller, Prover-light variants that can run on a single workstation. DeepSeek didn't just release a model, they ignited a fire. They've made elite theorem-proving mainstream, and nobody is quite ready for what that truly means. Now, let's pivot from that colossal titan in Beijing to Shenzhen, where Xiaomi, yes, the smartphone company, unveiled MiMO-7B. And this model's strategy is the polar opposite of DeepSeek's. It doesn't try to be big, it tries to be dangerously efficient. While most powerful open-source reasoning models hover around 30, 70, or even more billions of parameters, Xiaomi flexes with only 7 billion. But don't let the size fool you. This is a pocket rocket with a jet engine. Instead of scaling up parameters, they scaled up the training. MiMO-7B was pre-trained on an absolutely staggering 2.5 trillion tokens of data. They used a sophisticated 3-stage data pipeline that gradually increased the proportion of math and coding tasks to a hefty 70% by the final stage. It was force-fed a diet of pure logic and structure. But that's not all. They extended its context length to a massive 32,000 tokens. That's enough space to hold entire codebases or long, complex mathematical arguments in its memory without losing track. For anyone who has debugged a complex system or tried to solve a multi-step problem, you know that is a superpower. And here's the cleverest part. MiMO uses multi-token prediction. Instead of guessing the next word, one at a time, it predicts several at once. Think of it like a chess grandmaster who sees 5 moves ahead, while a normal player only sees the next one. This gives it sharper logic and dramatically faster inference speeds. The results are just staggering for a model of its size. On the AIME 2025 math benchmark, MiMO-7B scores a 55.4, beating OpenAI's own GPT 3.5 Turbo. On a complex coding benchmark, it completely outclasses models 4 times its size. This is the second slap to OpenAI. Xiaomi is proving that brute force isn't the only way. Smarter, more focused training on a smaller model can yield elite results. It democratizes power. You don't need a national-level data center to run this. A single high-end workstation can handle it, opening the door for local-first development, privacy, and innovation without relying on a single company's API. Xiaomi has just delivered a masterclass in efficiency, and the open-source world is taking notes. Which brings us to our third contender, coming out of Redmond. If DeepSeek is brute force and Xiaomi is surgical efficiency, then Microsoft is the strategic sniper. They just rolled out the Phi-4 reasoning family, anchored at 14 billion parameters. It's bigger than MiMO, but vastly smaller than Prover V2. It sits in the Goldilocks zone. And Microsoft's philosophy is a direct flip of Xiaomi's script. Instead of raw data volume, they focused obsessively on data quality. They curated a dataset of 1.4 million boundary prompts. These aren't your average questions. These are edge cases, logical puzzles, and tricky problems designed to stretch a model to its absolute limits. The reference answers were generated by high-reasoning versions of GPT models, and every response was wrapped in special tags that forced the model to learn the difference between its chain of thought and its final answer. In essence, they taught it to think before it speaks. Then, they polished this model with an advanced reinforcement learning technique on over 6,000 incredibly difficult math puzzles, rewarding the model not just for being right but for being concise and elegant. The results? On benchmark charts, Phi-4 reasoning plus consistently matches or even nudges past much larger models, but with far greater stability. Most incredibly, it shows an ability to generalize its reasoning to new types of puzzles it was never explicitly trained on. This suggests it isn't just memorizing patterns, it's developing abstract reasoning capabilities. And at 14 billion parameters, it hits the sweet spot for deployment. Quantize it down to 4 bits, and you can serve it from a single beefy consumer GPU. This is perfect for building smart classroom tools, powerful indie developer assistants, or sophisticated engineering simulations. This is the third, and perhaps most philosophical slap to OpenAI. Microsoft is betting that in the long run, smarter data will beat more data. It's a strategy focused on curation and quality, proving that you can achieve elite, reliable reasoning without boiling the oceans to train your model. They've invited the world to audit their work, shipping full training logs on Hugging Face. So let's take a step back. DeepSeek's open-source behemoth, Xiaomi's hyper-efficient pocket rocket, Microsoft's precisely trained reasoning sniper. 3 different companies, 3 different philosophies, all converging on the same target. The notion that world-class AI is the exclusive domain of 1 or 2 closed-off companies. The arms race has fundamentally changed. It's no longer just about who has the biggest model. It's now a multi-front war of strategy. Openness versus secrecy, brute force versus efficiency, quantity versus quality. And this leads to a profound, almost unsettling question, one that we must all start considering. What happens when these models, these mathematical savants and logical prodigies, get so good at reasoning that they begin to write systems, create proofs, and build logic that we, their creators, don't fully understand? At what point do we stop being the builders and start becoming the bystanders, marveling at a form of intelligence that has begun to chart its own course? That thought might mess with your head a little. It should, because the world of AI just got a whole lot bigger, a whole lot more competitive, and infinitely more interesting. What do you think is the biggest threat to OpenAI's dominance? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to stay on the cutting edge of this AI revolution, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.